So in the last video we talked about some of the workshops that we did, but another part of the CSC was going on field trips. Dairy is a very large industry in New Zealand. It accounts for something like 25% of the GDP, massively exported, largely through a cooperative called Fonterra that controls 80% of the market. So we got to go and see this company called LIC, whose branding I'm wearing, and they control 80% of the genetics for the dairy herd in New Zealand. There's 4.7 million dairy cows in New Zealand and 80% of the genetics. And the breeding program management is done by this company here, which also operates under this cooperative model. We went to see 2 trial farms for another kind of research levy organization called Dairy NZ, and it's their sort of mandate to drive innovation and improvement in things like understanding methane impacts, understanding feeding efficiency, understanding how they can advance their pastoral system, which is a little different to maybe some of the more intensive systems we use in Northern Europe. Another very impressive kind of cooperative body is called Zespri. Now you might know this brand. Zespri is on all the little kiwi fruits. It's a sticker, but it's a company managed by kiwi farmers, essentially, another co-op style organization. 100% of the kiwis that leave New Zealand are under this brand, and this brand sets the pricing and controls the genetics for the kiwi farmers. And it's kind of interesting to see how these cooperative models work, because they talk a lot about the importance of sort of free trade agreements in the international space, but in the national space they're quite conservative and protective of their markets, because so much of their market is export, and they can't afford really to have competitors from New Zealand undercutting each other on price. And they get around this with this kind of cooperative model, which my understanding of it is that you pay in to be a part of the cooperative and you have shares, and the number of shares you have ultimately dictates the level of production that you can have, but then also the number of shares you have dictates the number of dividends that you get from the success of that corporation. So yeah, that kind of wraps up a lot of the CSC experience. You know, I haven't talked about the people, about the friends I've made, about the jokes we've shared, the beers, but it was a really cool experience. Loads of learning opportunities, and it's interesting to see how like maybe we could take some ideas from what ag is doing and translate them into aquaculture. But even if we don't, it's still interesting to learn more about our food systems so that we can be more conscientious consumers, but also more effective producers.